Next, we want to work on two types of manipulation of color that are great for doing landscapes because they give it that light and shadow effect. The first one is ET earth tones. So let's start there. You can do this wet or dry. Let's get this one a little wet. So we take our brush and get that wet there. And next I want to do a different color so that when we're done, all four of these look dramatically different. For me, I'm going to do a yellow. Let's move this into the picture. A yellow orange. And so I put down some yellow in my tray or whatever you're using to mix with. And then clean my brush. And let's get some orange. The darker color is more powerful and you don't need as much of it. So more yellow than orange. Usually, but it depends on kind of what you're going for. Okay, so there's a nice watery orange yellow intermediate. It's also called tertiary, but I just don't like saying that word, so I use intermediate, which is also used. Okay, now that I've got that intermediate color and I've got wet on wet, I want to make it an earth tone. Nothing complicated about that. Clean my brush, and I'm just going to add a little bit of brown. And you don't need much brown, especially using yellow. And you really don't need a lot. So I just cleaned off my brush again because I've got enough brown in there now. And there you go. So it just gives it that dirtier color. And then it's wet on wet, so it's going to be a faded color. Okay. I know you guys know that, red and yellow make orange. And I want to go to a little bit more advanced color mixing. So we're going to do some more intermediate color mixing for this, not colors straight out of the tray. The real challenge of this assignment is going to be your color mixing. So today's all about kind of getting used to that. So here's an earth tone yellow orange. It's a little bit distorted from what I can see on the screen, but that's what you got. Shading is similar, but you're just going to add black. So let's try a different color. Let's do, we haven't used red yet, so get a little red. And this is going to be dry on dry, so mix, 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 mix. Nice thick red paint, lipstick red, as they call it sometimes. We're going to put that down. And because it's dry on dry, the paper is going to absorb it quicker, and you're going to need to make a little bit more paint. So I'm getting a little bit more red in there, okay? And let's say it's something that a red flower or something like that, but it's in shadow. Then we could add a little black to it. But when I say little, I really mean it. Black is the most powerful color. Doesn't take much to just turn any of these colors straight black if you use too much. So you got to kind of dot it in there and see how it looks. See, that's a lot of black. So just be real careful, and that's part of why I want you to do this, is to play around with these colors and get used to how much do you need to get a good shaded red. Almost looks kind of like that violet, doesn't it? Okay. And then you lay that down for your shaded red. It really looks kind of purplish, but very different from the blue violet above it, of course. I'm going to put a little bit more water in there and finish it off. Okay. So this is also really light. That's not dry paint so much. So if I'm the artist here, I've got to say, all right, that's not nearly dry enough. If I want a nice, deep, dark red color, I got to make some more red paint gently with my brush. See how it's getting thick and I'm getting more paint? I'm not ruining my brush bristles, although one came off there. And then I put it onto my mixing surface. And then that's just going to need a little bit more black. Clean my brush off. Just get a dot of black, and then I can lay it in there. But see how, look at this, see how dark that got? I put too much black in there. Okay, so the biggest mistake that you make, and maybe it's good that I just made it too, is you can add too much black very easily. So now I can go back and get more red and try and rescue it. Sometimes you can't, but that looks like that kind of works. So now I got a nice dark shaded red, and that's really dark, darker than I was envisioning, but that'll work. And that's a shaded color. We're going to use a lot of these for colors here. Wet, dry, intermediate, earth tone with brown, and shading with black.